Tonight's quote comes from Jerry Maguire. Help me help you. Probably every single Portland fan tonight after that win. Help us, Orlando. Help us. Cue the intro, boys.
It's the Rip City Wrap-Up, brought to you by Dick Hanna Subaru. Believe in nice. Here are your hosts, Tyree Smith, Danny Marang, and Joe Simons.
Help me help you. All right, we're trying to get Cooper Flagg here, folks. Welcome into episode 44 of the Rip City Wrap-Up, sponsored by good people at Dick Hanna Subaru. I'm just going to rip the Band-Aid off. We love Cooper Flagg in this town, wouldn't we?
Well, sure.
Yeah. All right, then.
No question.
All right, let's just rip the Band-Aid off, Orlando. We wanted that, but whatever. We'll take what we got. Great win.
Can we preface this game with, if the Blazers played this game 100 times, they would probably lose it 92 out of 100. Like, the Blazers played okay. They scored 101 points.
Welcome to Portland, folks, where your team can win by 22, and you're frustrated at the outcome. Hi.
I didn't even
finish.
Hi.
I'm not frustrated by it because what you got tonight was you saw growth from guys.
Joe, though, like, yeah, let's like, you know, hey guys, we know the Blazers won, and that's like a good thing, right? Because it's fun to win basketball games, and the Blazers have won 3 straight, and things are going good, and they're flowing, and everything's good, and Rob Williams and defense and all this stuff. We have to start with some good.
No,
Danny Marang.
I'm not taking away from the Blazers. What I'm about to do is take away from the Orlando Magic.
Okay, great.
That was one of the
finish
most.
the intro. My boy Danny was fired up. All right.
I haven't seen a team play this grotesque of basketball in a long time.
Was it really that bad?
Yes, it was horrendous. It was horrendous basketball. It's like, find me the redemptive thing from the Orlando Magic. They shot 34% from the floor, 24% from 3, 67% from the line. They turned the ball over 19 times. Like, what is the thing you're like, they did this? It's like, they're horrendous.
New Orleans would have a word with you.
Yeah, but Franz is playing. Paolo is playing. Like, you've got guys that are
first
playing.
game back in how long?
Exactly.
He's out for 20 games. And Franz was 9 of 19. He was good. Why did everybody else suck that much?
I was hoping you would tell us.
Paolo Banchero might have played his worst game of his career. And look, I want to give the Blazers defense credit.
There we go.
I do, because they were incredibly disruptive. You had a career high in steals for Jabari Walker. Rob Williams was a monster. But the game plan is out for the Orlando Magic. Go under everything, pack the paint, and dare them to shoot, because they cannot shoot to save their lives. This is, I mentioned it on social, this is the matchup of the movable object against the very stoppable force, because these are the two worst shooting teams in the league, and the difference in the game was the team that had the guy who could shoot won.
Paolo Banchero was 1 of 14 from the field tonight.
But I would also have to consider, you just said it, Jabari Walker had a career high of 5 steals. I have to give it to the defense as well. He
finished with 6.
Yeah,
that's one better.
But
thank you.
So that impacts Banchero on the turnovers, of which he had 5. 5. So he had 5 turnovers while going 1 of 14. It's like, this is a guy who just signed a max contract who's supposed to be all NBA.
Well, multiple things can be true. This is a confluence of a couple things.
Sure,
one, the Blazers put out a crazy starting lineup.
Ant in the wings.
Yes, it was. Who was it? It was Rob, 2, Denny, Ant, and Jeremy. And Jeremy has been playing phenomenal defense for the last couple of weeks. Like, it has been outstanding.
It's been very
So you put out 6'4", 6'7", 6'9", 6'9", 6'11".
And you got the best middle linebacker in the NBA in Rob Williams leading everything.
Yeah.
You got that coupled with one of the worst shooting teams in the NBA having one of their worst shooting performances of the season. You put it all together, it equals 79 points.
Yeah. I mean, it was
Florida jump. What is it? Frog jump?
the Florida Frog Hop.
Florida Frog Hop.
From Miami to Orlando, Orlando to Miami. It's the Texas two-step, the Florida Frog Hop is what you get.
The way they played in
pending.
Miami on Monday or Tuesday, I apologize.
I got to get on with Pat Riley so I can find out what guy he used to coin the three-peat. I got to make sure I merchandise.
That's right. I have to say, boys, this goes into one of my top 3 most stunned of an outcome of a Blazer game this season, because
the Blazers were 7.5-point dogs.
Yeah, because they were spirited in Miami on the court, and I would expect they were probably spirited afterwards as well. And this would be a natural letdown after a big win to open a road trip, especially knowing that you have Charlotte on the back end of it. May I posture a theory?
Oh, boy.
I'm going to do it anyway.
I know.
Because this is the last big road trip for this crew the way they are currently constituted because the
Before the
deadline
deadline.
is coming up.
Yeah.
Perhaps there is some magic involved in this little road trip. Like there is like, hey, this is kind of the last run for this crew constituted the way that they are. And maybe that's a little bit of what you saw tonight because that was a hell of an effort by the Blazers in a game that you didn't expect them to win.
I think it was more so of a momentum thing. You beat Miami the way you did. You party in Miami probably. That's my assumption.
Well earned.
That's what I would do.
I would imagine some team bonding occurred.
And you frog hop over to Orlando, Central Florida. Paolo's already being double teamed. You see him not falling shots. Why not go get this W? It feels like that. I understand it. I also didn't think, though. You know, I've been a little hesitant talking about that tank, methodically tanking and things of that sort. I don't. And you put this in a good perspective. I didn't feel like that was a game Blazers in terms of a future needed to win.
Well, it was one of those. It's the first one that I could really look at and say, okay, we didn't have strong development from Scoot. Scoot had a weird night, which we'll get to in a little bit. But there's not like a thing that you can point to, at least from a box score perspective, and say, hey, here's your linear development. The Blazers won a game and it's okay because these 4 things happened. Yeah, it was cool that Bari had a good night defensively. Yes, it was very nice that there was good team defense. 2 found a stroke a little bit from the field. Jeremy had good defense. Ant knocked down some shots. But it's not like there's DC out there grabbing 11 rebounds, right?
It wasn't a big shit.
It's not like there's Shea out there killing it. It's not like Denny was scoring 20 points and just in control of everything around him. He had a good night.
Let's
He had a good night.
Let's pivot there for a second.
Okay.
Because you did get something different tonight that I was surprised, not wholly by, but it is that starting lineup. That Scoot Henderson wasn't in the starting lineup. Shaedon Sharpe wasn't in the starting lineup. And Chauncey Billups said pregame that, and this is something that's not new for either Chauncey or really any former player in the NBA, you don't lose your spot to injury. Unless you're Drew Bledsoe. That's kind of how it works.
I was going to say, but I'm glad you brought that up.
And again, that was the right decision.
It was the right call. But alongside that, I was a little bit surprised that with the way Scoot Henderson had been playing, that they didn't stay together. That 2 didn't stay on the bench, regardless of not losing your spot. Just because.
I'll go farther. I was stunned, Dan.
I tweeted it out like interesting lineup here.
A lot of people were flat out mad at that decision.
Which I get, but also officially 2 weeks until the trade deadline.
But the thing happened. That's the problem. The momentum had started. Speaking of momentum, the momentum had started with Scoot. And it feels like, despite the win, are we stifling that a little bit by not having Scoot in the starting lineup? Like, Scoot didn't do himself any favors tonight. He was trying to be a part of the defensive swarm for the Blazers.
Intensity. Yes.
And he overdid it. And
He had points.
the young man, he did have points, but he also had 6 fouls in 14 minutes, which is a decision. I'm just saying this is a consequence. I think that there is likely a correlation with Scoot getting those 6 fouls so quickly, not being in the starting lineup, because he feels like he was trying to make up for everything and not being out there when the game started. That is my perception. Because if you're out, because in Scoot's mind, there's probably a little bit of a demotion. And I understand you don't lose your spot. And I agree. I don't think you should lose your spot because of an injury. But because you're cooking like Scoot, and he hasn't had that sort of stretch in this part of a season where maybe it's not completely consequential. Yeah. I'm trying to be a little bit generous. No. He's had this stretch, and when you get sent to the bench, it can feel like a demotion. It can feel like maybe I'm not doing things the right way. Let me try to make
the reinforcement isn't there.
Exactly.
The interesting thing was, and when we all noticed it, because this game was a knife fight. Like, it was, that first quarter, that first half was some of the most brutal basketball I've watched this year.
Yeah, I was actually very tuned into it, though.
I mean, players were up in arms. They were very animated, and they were chirping at the officials. But the refs just took the whistle and put it in their pocket. And for Scoot to pick up the fouls that he did,
that's the thing.
In a game where guys were just pummeling each other, it was like,
it makes it that much worse.
Yeah, it's like, buddy, when he fouled out, I believe the Blazers, was it 17 total fouls?
Yeah.
I think they finished with 21, but at the time, the Blazers had 17 fouls, and 6 of them were Scoots. It was like, guys, Scoot, they're letting you play, man. You got to, the bounds are out here. You got to rein it in just a little bit. And do you want to?
Yeah, go ahead.
No, you go because everybody will think
I didn't
it's
make
me.
this bet.
It'll be everything.
I did
is
not
me
make
being,
this bet.
being a
That's
hater.
I was just in the back working. It's not my bet. Y'all go.
So there was, I think, 10.5 minutes left of the game, and the Blazers were up 15 at that point.
Yeah,
and
which felt like 60.
Which felt like 60, and it turned out to be the case. And I think 2 and Ant were the leading scorers of the game. They both had 14 points. Scoot had 5 fouls and 4 points. And I said, fellas, I got a scenario for you. The Blazers run this out to 25. The white flag gets waved. Scoot comes back into the game. He puts up about a dozen points. Scoot's going to be the leading scorer in this game. What do you guys think? And Danny kind of sits with it, and he says, bet you gets his 6th foul before they get to 4 minutes left in the quarter. And I was like, all right, let's see what happens. And sure enough, the orangutan got one on the board. That was point Danny.
And it was not you know exactly how I said it and what I meant. It was the way he is playing right now. There's no way because he has sat for so long.
Right.
The refs are not going to realize he's sitting at 5 fouls and he sat forever. And normally if you pick up fouls over the course of a game, refs are like, all right, he's sitting on 5. Unless it's egregious, we're not going to hit him with his 6. But when you're out for that
and his
long,
6th was egregious, to be fair.
It was.
Undercut a guy.
But it was like the refs wouldn't even think to hand him his 6th, and then they'd look up and go, sorry, kid. Because despite what people think, refs, when their guy's sitting at 5, you do typically need to commit a crime to get your 6th foul if the refs are aware. But the problem is he basically stabbed it.
But it's such a bummer, too.
It was because
you want to have him keep it going.
The play before, we all jumped up because he drives down the right slot, looks off, throws a live dribble, one-hand bullet through the defense.
On the money.
Right into the shooting pocket to Jeremy Grant, 3. And it was like, oh, that is a dime. And before I could finish sending the tweet, whistle, tweet, and Scoot undercuts a guy.
Yeah, I actually had to you were tweeting, which you've been known to do.
Yeah.
And I had to tell you that this, in fact, happened. Because it was such a bang-bang situation.
It was so fast. I was like, well, never mind.
So
There's his 6th foul. But the moments that he did have tonight, 2 moments stood out. 1, that pass. 2, the right-hand finish high off the glass on the drive. And it was like, that is a play that 2 weeks ago he smokes the layup. And instead, I don't know what was different or what has changed with him, but instead of trying to get to the other side of the rim and do that right-handed reverse that he goes to all the time, he goes up straight and goes high off the glass and finishes with his right hand on the right side, which you don't see him do all that often. And you've seen him do things in the last 10 days, particularly in the paint, that he has not done in his entire career so far. Going to the floaters, going to the runners, using his right hand on the right side, not trying to do that same, get to the other side, throw some, flashy finish, or put a bunch of English on the ball. He has simplified his game, and it's like when you see him have that moment of, whether it be that pass or whether it be that finish or whether it just be making a play, you're like, yes, these are all things you haven't shown before. But to have it countered by the fouls tonight was like, okay, this is a learning experience. Good news is you get on a plane. You get to go do it again tomorrow night.
I want to go ahead. I'm gonna say this. I've been listening to y'all. This is my take. I said it at the beginning of the show. I don't like that look that you're giving.
This is my thinking face.
Oh, your thinking
go
face?
on.
Okay. This wasn't a game that the team needed to win if you're thinking about a methodical tank or whatever to get that number 1 overall pick, right? But there were still some really good things in this game that I think we can benefit. I think even though, despite Scoot's 6 fouls, that finish off the drive was great. I think that was one of the positives that you could take. I think Jabari's minutes, just take off the steals, he still was playing aggressive defense.
No question.
No matter he was guarding, whether it was Paulo or whoever, he was still guarding and playing great defense. I think when you look at the Scoot game, he was having that stretch, right? And remember we talked about this yesterday. One of the players said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Wasn't he was doing well when he was in the starting lineup. I mean, if you want to continue to develop Scoot, want to continue to see him grow, I don't think they probably should have took him out of the starting lineup, not because he deserves to be there at the moment right now, but at least when he's been in the starting lineup the past 4 or 5 games, he was productive. He was becoming the Scoot that everybody was kind of seeing him do. Isn't that what we want? Isn't at this point, in this moment, when we have Scoot on this kind of road trip and we have him kind of on this fiery drive, shouldn't we keep him cooking because we were so worried that he would never cook?
It's a political move by Chauncey. I don't think it's right or wrong to have Scoot out of the starting lineup. I just think there are consequences of either action. Like, that's why you make a lot of money as a head coach in the NBA. You got to make difficult decisions like this. And this is what he decided.
I'm not somebody who believes this, but I know people who do. The idea of
what a wind-up. I can't wait to hear this.
It's not. I don't think players can gain and lose trade value game to game. I just don't. So, but I know people who work in the NBA who think, hey, it's leave somebody with a fresh taste in their mouth. You know what I mean? Like the whole idea of like, hey, the last time I saw you play, you were good. So if you want to go full tinfoil hat, the idea of you're playing in Orlando, wink, wink, nod, nod. Let's make in the starting lineup. What does this mimic? What does this look like? Hey, what was the difference in the game tonight? Was it the one player who could shoot?
Well, we'll get to the other player.
But I'm saying that's what I'm saying. Like,
yes.
if you're prescribing like something different.
Okay.
Now, I don't believe that wholeheartedly. I don't. I've never believed in the one game like.
But the other part of the one game thing is, Dan, the Blazers played much earlier tonight than they usually do. And who else was a big standout for the Blazers? Someone who comes up in every other fake tweet of teams that could potentially be interested in him, have not seen him play in a while. You could say, dang, Rob still got it. Rob looks great.
There's no question about him. His only question is availability. That's it. When he's on the floor, he had a block that he took the ball to the top of the square. He had a dunk that he grabbed the ball at the top of the square.
That dunk was insane.
I mean,
the lefty?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I mean, he
got it.
The best weak side player in the NBA defensively is Victor Wembanyama. Rob Williams III is in the next tier. Whether you want to say it's Evan Mobley, if you want to say it's Chet, if you want to say it's Jared Allen, like that, like Rob is in the top 3 of best weak side defenders in the entire. If you want to say Giannis, like he is in that group, and he can also anchor the defense. And that was on display tonight because again, the Magic, the Rubik's Cube doesn't have nearly as many sides when every side says drive.
Yeah.
Well, you go under everything, you pack the paint, you funnel everything to Rob Williams, which is what you're supposed to do with a guy like that. But when you have a guy that's that good, it shows when you simplify the game for him.
This is the first time, boys, where I'm like, maybe we didn't need to win that one, because that is win number 16. Starting to add up a little bit.
I told you. Let's see what you guys think. Use that hashtag RC wrap up, join in the conversation. I want to know what you guys think. I want to know what you're thinking. I want to know if you guys enjoyed the win or if you didn't want them to win. What you guys think? Either way, there was good things to take away from this, just like there are good things to take away from Dick Hanna Subaru.
Oh.
Joe, it's your time.
Well, you got to pay for them, but yes, then they'll give them to you. Folks, winter is here, and it's the perfect time to check out the new 2025 Subaru models rolling in every day at Dick Hanna Subaru. Subaru delivers with that lifetime powertrain warranty on every new car. Experience nice in the case. Visit them today and see why a Subaru is perfect for the season and your next big assist. Fellas, it's time for a deep dive into a shallow topic. It's TrendBA.
Let's go ahead and get to the TrendBA. Number 1, we're going to be talking about our commissioner, Mr. Adam Silver. Let's go ahead and talk about it. He was talking about bringing the potentially not ruling out inviting EuroLeague teams to the NBA EuroLeague, saying, quote, everything is on the table, end quote.
He wants to buy Europe, Tyree.
And talk a little bit about it. I think, I mean, with all of the international stars that we have, I'm not surprised by trying to move to it. There we go. A lot better representation of it. There we go. I'll read it better for you. Adam Silver doesn't rule out inviting EuroLeague teams to the NBA Europe League. Everything is on the table. How do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts. I think my first is that probably Europeans see this and they roll their eyes and they think, don't touch our basketball league. Like, leave it alone. EuroLeague didn't start like 5 years ago. It's been around for decades, and I think it's only 10 years younger than the NBA. So it's like a real basketball league that people really, really care about. It's not like some minor league. Yeah, it's not like the USFL that it's going to merge with something like. I was telling Tyree, imagine, old Rupert Murdoch comes in and he's like, you know what, I'm going to buy at the NFL and we're going to make it like Australian rules football. People would lose their minds. That's an extreme example, but I'm sure people in Barcelona and big markets in Europe and major cities that have followed these teams for decades, like y'all follow the Blazers, like we follow the Blazers, are probably pretty annoyed by this, and I would be too.
there's a lot that's going to go into this. I've talked to some international scouts and people who work overseas, and the general idea or consensus that I've kind of gathered from this is overall it's going to be good for the EuroLeague, and they do in fact believe that they kind of will be absorbed. And that the big part of that is there's the Panathinaikos, there's the Real Madrids, there's the Barcas, there's the CSKA Moscow's, like the big EuroLeague teams, and the catch of it all is one team like the Metropolitan 77s that were the team that Victor Wembanyama played for. They don't exist anymore. They're gone. As soon as Vic
contracted,
it's gone because the money just kind of died away. And if you have the NBA support, it raises the baseline because a lot of these teams are cash poor, or they operate in a world that's. I've got some buddies who played overseas 15 years ago. It's not the way that it used to be, but guys that played in Poland and guys that played in Germany and as much as Greece, as much as those leagues are growing. I know one guy who was like, yeah, we didn't know we were going to get paid. And like one guy, the owner locked the gym and like left the country. Because there's levels to this, and even guys that had the money, they weren't paying it. Because they're not mine. They go full Scrooge McDuck. Well, if they become a part of EuroLeague, NBA, then there's a certain level of professionalism. There's a required amount of cash flow, like everything that kind of works through it. There's a stabilization. It's also a growth opportunity for those clubs.
Shouldn't we?
You can keep the game exactly the same, but the money makes more sense.
What's the benefit for the owners in the NBA? That's where I get lost.
Well, I'm curious to ask y'all. Don't we have an NBA problem right now? Shouldn't we be trying to fix that right now before we try and expand? I mean,
it's not really an expansion though. It's about making like a homogenous product of basketball in Europe to capitalize on. And now the likelihood is that NBA ownership groups would probably buy into these teams, which would stabilize them. But the style of basketball, the academies and everything like that, that's something the NBA might ultimately like tacitly endorse. So instead of having, the G League, the G League would, I think, continue to exist in its own fashion, but you would have development. And I think that's the biggest problem right now in the NBA. There's no true minor league system. Whereas in like Major League Baseball or even the NFL, college football is a much better facsimile of a development lab for the NFL than college basketball is for the NBA, because they're basically different games.
Right.
And I think that's like part of the change. Personally, I like the idea of it because they are two separate things. It's if it becomes EuroLeague NBA or NBA EuroLeague, I think you can have it be NBA in name and cash flow only, but also have it be a partnership where instead of a player playing, think about Real Madrid because they're such a soccer powerhouse. Instead of that being the highest level, what if the guys like Luka Doncic or a guy that's in the NBA draft possibly this year in Hugo Gonzalez who plays for Real Madrid, and you look at him, it's like he's not ready yet. But hey, you keep it as a development arm, and now he enters some sort of development pool, much like international players in baseball or something like that. And it just kind of, I think, spices things up while also keeping the culture of EuroLeague basketball. I think it's a win-win for both. You guys seem hesitant. Why?
I don't know how much benefit the EuroLeague is going to get from that. I mean,
it's the money. That's the stabilization and the money, the resources.
Yeah, but where's the money coming from? That's the
owners
thing.
On this side,
right? But what if I'm an owner in the NBA? Yes, from a purely profit standpoint, and that's why I'm in this.
Yes,
you see Europe as a potentially untapped market. I know that's what Adam Silver sees.
Yes.
As well.
Because they don't see China like that anymore.
No, they certainly don't.
Oops,
and I get it because there's a very easy through line. You can look at this and say, hey, here are the last MVPs of the last 7 years. Jokic, Embiid, Jokic, Giannis. You have to go back to 2018 before you have an American MVP in James Harden. Yes, he was the last American MVP.
That's tough.
Russ before that, and then Steph a couple of times. I think, generally speaking, it is an interesting idea. But for me, it doesn't really move the needle. And to Tyree's point, in my simple brain, my thought is, Adam Silver, fix the league you have here in the United States. And I get the idea of, okay, this will help EuroLeague, which will help basketball in general around the globe, and the best basketball league in the world is the NBA. So
I think it helps
I
the
get
NBA.
that notion. Right, and that's what I'm saying. In a roundabout way, and generally speaking, yes, it probably will help the NBA. But I think this is a bit of a nothing burger for NBA fans, for the most part. I think people that follow the EuroLeague will have stronger opinions about this. I just think this is a distraction away from a league that needs help.
I think the through point for NBA fans caring is I think it helps with development, and I think you get players that are better prepared when they get here to play basketball, to have a higher understanding, a better IQ, and a better ability to execute, which I think NIL is doing a little bit of that and keeping guys in college longer. But I genuinely do. I think there's a real development opportunity for teams and for players and for the league. And if you get better developed players before they come to the league, then the product becomes better. Because I think one of the biggest complaints that I have heard from coaches is that it's not that they're mad that players are coming to the league young. They're frustrated they're coming to the league unprepared.
Yes, and I would argue that's been a big part of the rise of the W as well, is not only that you are more familiar with an Angel Reese, a Cameron Brink, a Caitlin Clark, it's the 4 years of college and the fact that every Iowa game was like appointment viewing. Like if it was on and I was trying to do errands on a Saturday, I would sit there and watch it. Like I would sit and watch LSU games and not change the channel when Angel was on. Like that was appointment viewing because you became familiar with these players. Cooper Flagg is a one-on-one situation, but people watch men's college basketball to scout for the NBA, and people watch women's college basketball because it's a really good product.
There's a great point that you made, and I'm not taking that away from you. I want you to present that point. The football one. Remember when we were talking about this EuroLeague, basically the football one?
Oh yeah.
Go ahead and bring that one.
Oh no, I said it with Rupert Murdoch. Yeah.
Yeah.
If he came here and he tried to buy the NFL and said you're going to play Aussie rules football, then that was okay. That was like a 6 out of 10, I would say. Aussie accent. I'm not going to try it again. I'm going to think about it too much. Thank you.
You ain't gonna do it.
I got you. I just think
thought it was cool.
If someone came in and tried to steal our sport, we would be upset.
I don't think they're going to.
Don't like us anyway.
No. I genuinely don't think that that's what they're trying to do.
I know, but that will be some of the spin and the thought behind it. That will be the headlines from Twitter. That'll be the thing that people see.
The big dumb American xenophobes?
Yeah.
But I mean, also, wouldn't Europe want to keep their players in Europe? Like, wouldn't you want to keep your players?
They do, but they also unabashedly want them on the biggest stages. Like, Denny Avdia playing in the NBA matters.
Yeah.
Luka Doncic playing in the NBA matters. Like, as much as like Red Star is like this development monster where you've had the Nurkic's, the Yo. It's a badge of honor for them to go to the NBA and
look at baseball.
Put belt to butt. Like,
look at baseball. Like, yes, there are players who probably I'm going to use Japan as a specific example.
The city of Tokyo comes to a standstill.
Yes.
When Shohei Ohtani is up to bat.
Yes.
That's not a joke when he's done.
Yeah, and so Shohei and Ichiro Matsui, these guys are outliers.
Yes.
Right? These are guys that made the jump and had very, very successful careers in Major League Baseball. But there are players that just play their whole career in Japan, probably could come to Major League Baseball in America, but prefer to stay in Japan. So to your point, yes, I think there'll be guys who want to stay in Europe. But to your point, yes, I think there are guys who want to make the leap. There are different levels to it.
Mike James. Portland legend. He's the all-time EuroLeague leading scorer. Like, he's a guy over there. That's the other thing.
Is that right?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Go EuroLeague.
That's the thing. Is like,
we should buy that thing.
Yeah, see?
No, that's where the issue comes.
But here's the thing, though. When there's more money over there, too, maybe you get some of the guys that are hanging on the NBA that shouldn't. And
that's fair.
It helps grow their league. Anthony Randolph played in the NBA for a couple of years and just couldn't really. He became a legend overseas, like, and not in Europe. But Stephon Marbury has literal statues erected for him in China. Like,
Starberry, indeed.
I genuinely do think that you kind of want to encourage this. They can still be separate while being related.
It's fine. I just feel like they're chasing the next big thing instead of just trying to actually pump up their own league. Well, I know there's no easy answer.
I don't think you're wrong there, because I think David Stern, when he also in this address, Adam Silver said that like the coolness of the league is the thing that they're really trying to promote. And I'm just like, oh, David Stern would kill you for saying that.
Everyone needs to wear a suit and pull their pants up. That's what David Stern would say. And just for context, this happened earlier today. The Spurs beat the heck out of the Pacers in Paris. There's a game in Paris. After you're done watching us, look up the highlights of Wemby in that game. He's pretty good at basketball.
Yeah,
He did some
Kinda.
ungodly things in that game.
I agree. He's very good. You know who's also good? There's a Denny Avdia. He's very good. You know, we didn't really get the chance to talk about too much of him tonight, but I thought he was turbo.
He's always turbo.
Just always turbo.
He's always going to get turbo.
Yeah, I appreciated his game tonight a little bit. I didn't think anybody had to be outright Superman, but I want to get back to the game just a little bit because I think there were still some good things that we haven't touched about in this game.
Maybe like some secondary superheroes, like you get a Green Lantern in there.
Oh, not Ryan Reynolds, Green Lantern.
How about that?
Yeah, not Ryan Reynolds.
Mixing it up. These guys are talking about Iron Man 4 and all these, movies. They're fine.
It bothers
They're
him.
fine. It's
the
one big
interesting thing
movie.
is-
It's been on for 30 years. Let's move on.
You guys at home can't see this, but I'm going to show Joe this on my laptop. There's a rolling 10-game.
Great television.
The reason I wanted you to have the reference point.
Okay.
Joe, you guys will notice in the early part of the season, you see Denny was poor.
Sure.
Right?
Laptop game.
His consistency has gotten to the point where I think it's become something that's dismissed. Because he's been, after that poor start, he's been so consistently
That's valid, Dan.
impactful.
I really
good.
agree with that.
It's like you kind of take like he had
13, 5, and 5.
and it wasn't a game where you needed him to do a ton. Like he's had 20, 12, and 3. He's had 16, 8, and 5, and you're just like, it's fine, because he's become this like reliable thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you need somebody who can attack the rim? Fine. Oh, you need somebody who can knock down some shots? Fine. Oh, you need somebody to switch off defensively? Fine. Oh, you need somebody to grab some defenses or grab some rebounds and push the pace? Fine. Like whatever you need him to do, he is this not Swiss, Israeli army knife that can do everything you want him to do.
Let's play a game. Raise your hand if you think Denny Avdia is the MVP of the Blazers this season.
Yeah. Yeah.
You want to know something crazy?
You don't have to.
In my head, I'm like,
don't
he's
have
going to
to.
ask who's the best Blazer, probably.
I mean-
I agree.
I mean-
It's definitely Denny.
I don't really think.
I don't think there's much of an argument.
No, like Ant had a very poor month. Jeremy missed basically a month. Da has checked out at times. Two's
Rocker.
offense is just not enough to be there.
Yeah.
Scoots had 10 days. Shaden had 2 or 3 weeks of positive play. Denny started out rough for 2.5, 3 weeks.
First, like 8 to 10 games, probably.
And none of those other guys have the excuse of being brand new to a team, being
Sure.
brand new to a city, not knowing anyone, anything, where he lived, how to get to the arena, like all of those things.
Well, what's funny about Denny is he gets asked questions as if he's the 34-year-old veteran now, and like Scoot and Shea are like 10 years younger than him. Like they're only a couple years apart, and Denny is treated like
he
this
just turned
9-time
24
All-Star.
2 weeks ago.
Right.
To your point, real quick, hot take. I think Donovan would have been the best if he didn't get hurt. I think he would have been the best Blazer if he didn't get hurt. I'm serious.
I'd push back on it because I think like
That's
two,
fair.
I think the offense would be limited.
I thought his offense was getting a little bit better. He's not going to get me 14, 15 a night, but at least he'll give me my 10 boards.
No, I mean defensively, he's like Two and Donovan are going to give you the.
Look, it wasn't a cold take.
because-
It wasn't a cold take.
No.
And Denny's not the MVP because he's scoring 30 points a game, though.
No, but the reason he's the MVP is because if you're using like a metric chart of like out of 10, okay, rebounding 8 out of 10, scoring 7 out of 10,
Like the NBA Jam ratings, yeah.
and playmaking 7 out of 10. Like you just got to go to the list like
Speed all the way over.
It's just speed 10
Hold
out
on,
of
hold
10.
on.
Intensity 9
That
out
you
of 10.
did that. Do that with Donovan. I want to see what you do with Donovan.
Rebounding 10 out of 10.
Okay.
Shot blocking 10 out of 10.
yeah.
Speed 2.
3.
Look, Donovan, I love you.
Before.
No, even before injury, he's 7'3", 290. My man,
And he was still moving a little bit. The knees looked.
quick. Shout out to Mike Richmond because I think he put this the best way. Quick brain, slow feet. Very large man.
That is a Richmondism.
It's
I like that.
It's a really
Okay.
it was a really succinct point. I was like, yeah, I like that.
Good job, Mike. He
No,
doesn't
it
watch.
was-
He's recording a podcast.
No,
Okay.
Finish
Yeah.
the stat line. Finish the stat. You didn't finish.
Scoring 2, playmaking 3.
Really?
I mean,
2?
he's got to go a long way.
Big.
That's not
11.
Big 13.
But it was
Yeah.
not that bad.
The,
to a
the
2.
big stuff, but again, rebounding, shot blocking, 10-10. Rim protection, 10. Like,
Is
those
that not
things-
good enough to be the MVP
No,
for a
because-
team that needed defense last year? That's
No.
what we drafted him
So
for.
I think it's an interesting point because when Donovan went down, he had a couple of games that we talked about him entering the discussion for Rookie of the Year. Like it
17,
was
12, and 8. Yeah.
that impactful where he was doing that level
The 17,
of stuff.
though. That's
Yes.
the kicker.
Well, that is the kicker, but that progress was interrupted. We didn't get to see Donovan go through the I'll say, the Scoot pattern of ups and downs. Now, there's been a lot more downs than ups, but we are up with Scoot. That's the one thing that's been unfortunate about this season is, what are we? Is this game 44?
Yeah.
It'd be nice if we had Donovan playing 35 to 40 games so far.
Which,
to get and I know why, and we don't want to rush him back.
31.
Has he played 31?
So, this is something I brought up on the radio earlier today because I've seen so many people say he needs to play 30 minutes a night when he comes back. He has played 31 games. How many games do you think Donovan has played more than 28 minutes?
Twice.
Since he's a rookie? Maybe one.
One.
Uno?
I'm going to say one.
He has one game at 27-18. The other one's at 31-19, I think. But yeah, he's one game over 28 minutes. That's it. And that's not but he just couldn't. For me, while the 17, 12, and 8 was incredible, it's not I didn't care about the 17 points. I was much more interested in the 12 and 8 than I was the 17 because offensively he is rough. He doesn't have a go-to.
Well, they're crimes of opportunity when it happens.
Yes, exactly. And I think he can figure that out. I think once he gets NBA strength, he gets the core, the balance, all those things that kind of come with it. I think, yes, you will see that. And he has the potential to be a guy, because when we saw him get that day off in Houston and come back, all of a sudden he looked like himself again.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there was part of the rookie slump, the hitting the wall, travel, coming off the MCL injury, all the confluence events that all kind of came together. But even with that, you saw nights where even where he was impactful defensively, the offense was like 4 points, 6 points. And again, I don't expect him to ever be the guy who's leading the charge offensively. But when you get those nights, it's like, hey, cool, all right.
But you're not expecting Ben Wallace level offense. You're expecting a notch above that, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Come on. Ben was in the MVP conversation, averaging like 6 points a game. Like that guy's a one-on-one.
Again. Different era.
Different era.
A lot less possessions.
It looked a little bit like tonight.
But but a lot less possessions. But stylistically, yeah, you're not throwing the ball into Donovan.
No.
His points are going to come on offensive rebounds and putbacks.
Yeah.
And occasionally knocking down threes.
I'm going to ask you a quick question before we get to this live read. If Donovan, yes or no, if Donovan won Rookie of the Year, but Denny was still on the same path that he was, would you say that Donovan is the MVP of this team?
No.
Yeah, because it'd be fun to argue with Danny about it.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Let's
Which
get
people
to it.
don't understand is something he loves to do.
Oh, I love this. You know what I also love? Drinks that don't make me feel... Ain't that right, Joe?
Something to think about. Blazers only 6.5 out of the final play-in spot. All right, basketball fans, the game's over, but the night is just getting started.
You're a tease.
Let's talk about keeping those good vibes going with Best Day Brewing, the fastest-growing non-alcoholic craft beer brand. Well, it's the ultimate post-game play. We get to enjoy a great beer without worrying about tomorrow, because let's face it, celebrating tonight's win doesn't need alcohol. So fans, make every day your best day. Find your nearest Best Day Brewing retailer at bestdaybrewing.com. All right, let's get to Trend BA. What do we have, Tyree? Something fun?
You know what? This is a little education.
Oh.
A little education for the good folks out there, all right? Not everybody is a valid reporter, okay? This is coming from...
The coldest.
Yeah.
I tell you right now, it's the coldest take.
It really is. Sources confirm that Phoenix Suns and Portland Trail Blazers have been in discussion in recent days for a deal that would see Yusuf Nurkic back to Portland. Danny Avdija and Duop Reith would be headed to Phoenix in this deal. Sources confirm that your source's NBA trade machine. Sit down. This is ludicrous. Guys, what we're basically letting you know is, because this actually got a lot of traction. The coldest tweet got like 1.1 likes, whatever it was. These are capped. Don't always read into these and don't look into it.
Yeah, the algorithm for some reason was really getting this to Blazer fans, and Blazer fans really reacted to it. Like, let's all be careful out there. It's trade season.
Yeah.
Like, let's not believe everything you see. Yeah, we can be rage baited. It happens to me a lot. But
don't get me wrong,
just be cool.
They
It's
make their
fine.
way into the group chat, and we make fun of them. It happens. But the other part of this is the only Portland that Denny and Duop are going to is to Maine to maybe go talk to Cooper's parents. Like, that'd
be fun.
The Blazers are not giving up Denny Avdija for Yusuf Nurkic and a first-round pick, a bad first-round pick.
Wait, Cooper's from Maine?
Yeah.
Oh.
Were you not aware?
Well, now I'm
Really?
just excited that...
Portland, Maine?
I'm excited that because clearly I'm
the block lobster.
I'm fighting a losing battle with Block Lobster for Donovan.
So you just pass it on to Cooper?
Maybe we just get it to Coop. There's always next year, baby. Let's go.
Oh, gosh.
Bad nicknames are eternal.
You want to go to the Blazer box real quick?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's go to the Blazer box. Let's talk a little bit about this. Since we're already kind of in this realm, don't really always listen to Evan either. I'm just saying. This is what Evan is tweeting and talking about. The Lakers recently checked in with the Trailblazers on Jeremy Grant and Robert Williams. Now, Los Angeles can make salaries work between Rui Hachimura, Gabe Vincent, Jared Vanderbilt, and Jalen Hood. I'm not going to try to say his name. There we go. That's why I got you guys. Portland would need first-round draft capital in return to consider.
Yeah, I tweeted out to Blazer fans right after the game that if you receive a phone call at your home or place of business and someone asks you for Robert Williams III in exchange for any number of second-round picks, hang up that phone immediately. Don't take that call. Rob is worth way more than that.
1,010%.
And I hope Rob makes it. I'm trusting in the front office that if Rob is not on this team past the deadline, we're getting a haul back for him. Because I want that guy on this roster.
I think no, go ahead, Danny.
No, go ahead.
I honestly think losing Rob would deflate this team so much that they don't realize how much it would, but because they don't know how much he actually brings. And that's also why I love Rob. I think his value comes in the form of everything. Leadership, a little bit of offense, mostly defense, veteran presence in the locker room, guiding these young kids. Yeah. That's something that you can't always coach and teach, and especially with someone who go by NBA. Danny Marang is very in touch with the NBA. You can ask him, and when he talks to people, everybody loves Rob.
Everyone loves Rob. And if you don't, it's kind of more of an indictment on you situation.
Yeah, why would you want to get rid of that?
This isn't like I'm not going the sources, but sources within the team have expressed over and over and over and over again they have no interest in trading Robert Williams III. They have no interest in it, and then you would have to blow them away. Like nothing. You never say never because nobody's untradeable. But the whole idea of like that there was that report about Rob Williams being available for second-round picks. It was just like, are you? Like, there's trolling and then there's whatever this is. It's like it goes beyond rage baits. Like, that's not – and there's no world that exists where that's something that's on the table.
Even the most casual Blazer fans, if they watched this game tonight while eating supper –
8, 12, and 4, like he rolled out of bed and got
But
it.
just watching him on the floor –
at 4?
Well, whatever you're – look, from 4 to now, I hope you're enjoying your supper right now.
I promise you I'll judge you.
Let people eat when they eat. There's a lot of different lifestyles.
Don't care. Some opinions are there. Opinions are wrong, too. If all your opinions, you should eat at 4 p.m., pretty sure that's wrong. Sorry.
Okay. Don't eat at 4 p.m. around Tyree, folks. It's going to be a problem.
Whatever.
Anyone watching this game knows how valuable Rob Williams is. You don't have to be a diehard fan of the Blazers and watch the ebbs and flows over the 44 games that we had to understand Rob's value to this team. On the very first defensive possession, the very first one, Rob was at center court. Hand signals were going. He was barking out like they had to stop Orlando to win Game 7 of the NBA Finals. On the first possession of an early start in Florida. You can't teach that. No. You cannot. And he has a real connection with Donovan. You can't understate how important that is.
He played 23 minutes and he had 8, 12, and 4. For a guy that you don't run anything through. You ask him to do all the dirty work. Then that's the thing is like I think general fans don't understand like what the ask is of a big man in the NBA not named Nikola Jokic or Joel Embiid, where you get to touch the ball all the time. And
you get to eat.
Yeah. I mean, for all of the, well, it's a team sport and this, like, all these guys grew up being the dude. Kendrick Perkins averaged 40 and 16 in high school.
I'm going to be real honest. I need to see that stats because I don't believe
Oh, yeah. No, that's the thing is all these guys did.
It's like we're all starting pitchers, all hit like 30 home runs in high school. Yeah. Like they were all like the best athletes at some point. They've just been
the best athletes. There's
or
cities,
Derrick Henry.
There's states. Like, Derrick Henry ran for 4,000 yards in high school. So these guys, and when they develop and they willingly, not just to kind of like accept it, but they attack it, that's where you get guys like him that are world-changing defensive type players. And again, I will bring this up at every opportunity. He got screwed out of his Defensive Player of the Year by Marcus Smart. I don't know why the Celtics decided they wanted to give it to the little guy, but they did a PR campaign and Marcus Smart got it. Rob Williams, when healthy and on the floor, is a Defensive Player of the Year capable defender. Period, point blank. And he's like, the only question about him, and every single time, is availability. That is it. Every other thing about his game is
That's why he's
here.
affordable, though.
And because if he wasn't, he would be wrapped up in, like, the Celtics would have absolutely said no.
Yeah,
no,
he'd
no
be a Celtic for life.
way. We are not trading this guy. Like, Drew Holiday is nice. We don't want him that bad.
Yeah.
I'll say this because, some of the comments are saying, Rob can't stay healthy, time to move on. I understand the frustration, 1,010%, but also, isn't what this team was missing what Rob is? But I mean, I get it. He's healthy now, though. He's healthy now, probably in his best time where his trade value is probably up, which is why we're seeing so many of these reports.
It's not even that they're missing what he is. He is what they are about now. Bigger, longer, stronger, defensive-minded. That Damian Lillard team post LaMarcus Aldridge, we did 500 shows on, was the smallest, least athletic, least defensively capable or motivated team in the NBA. That is flipped on its head. They are bigger, stronger, longer, more aggressive, more defensively minded. What is Rob Williams? He is all of that. He personifies what they want to be about. So if you go get that guy and then you just, we'll just give him away for a first-round pick, what are you actually committed to building a team like that or not?
A couple of hot dogs and pocket change is what you're going to give him up for? Can't do that.
Honestly, I wouldn't deal him unless it was like a 2031 Lakers pick unprotected.
Well, the thing about Rob is
that's my level of consideration before I even all right, let's talk.
He is a valuable asset if he remains on this roster. And he is one of the rare valuable assets that, yes, you want him to play 55 to 60 games. That would be a good output.
Look, you
for
get
Rob
60 games
at this point.
Wrap it up.
So good. But because he is so valuable in the locker room, and I know it's corny to talk about locker room guys, but Rob is one of those. And again, his connection with DC is so vital. So even if you're only getting, God forbid, 30 to 40 games out of him, you're still getting that piece of it with Donovan. And
he's on the road for 82.
Exactly. And he still remains an asset that teams will want to trade for next season or the year after because he is. Exactly. And at that point, it's a crapshoot.
That's the risk. That is the inherent risk of Rob Williams.
It is 100%.
Well, you know what's not a risk? Driving a Subaru.
No. Folks, you're going to be safe. You're going to be warm. Winter is here, so it's the perfect time to check out the new 2025 Subaru models rolling in every day at Dick Hanna Subaru, fellas. With their lifetime powertrain warranty, you'll always have peace of mind, whether you're dishing out assists, tackling that daily drive of yours. Subaru's got your back. Experience nice in the car business with Dick Hanna Subaru. Believe in nice. Make sure you swing by today and see why a Subaru, well, boys, that's the MVP of the season.
You know who's also the MVP?
Who dat?
Our next NBA. To the tag board, baby. Let's go ahead and do it. This was fun, all right? This was during the OKC Thunder game when they were facing Dallas Mavericks. Thunder's fan hit his half-court shot for $20,000. He was doing the Texas down. It's because OKC was playing the Dallas Mavericks. I love when they hit these shots. I love when they get animated. I love when everybody gets some hype because hot dang, $20K, I can pay all my student loans.
$20K is okay. So here's the shot.
Well, here's the great thing is
I'm gonna get that mustache.
Look at that, rattles and goes.
Tax rate in Oklahoma,
he's not pulling
sales
it off.
tax rate is 4.13%. So you're not gonna get hit too hard.
I'm not moving to Oklahoma for that though. I'm just saying.
Okay,
not really
half court shot. What's the technique? How many steps do you take? I like the 1-2.
Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, because I want to.
Not like this.
No, look,
big granny.
No.
Who the heck?
Casey Holdall is a.
This is his area.
This is his area.
Yes.
If you are not a shooter and you can't get it there, underhand it.
Absolutely.
And I do prescribe to that. Like that is something I think.
And there's no shame in it. It's like, oh, I don't want to look stupid. Like you don't look stupid if you walk away with a new car of $20,000. That's not stupid.
Like if you're not a guy who grew up in the gym, number one, as a basketball player.
You don't know how to shoot a basketball.
Or if you're not somebody who just used to just jerk around at the local gym,
right?
Shooting half court shot after half court shot,
Totally.
to where you have any fundamental idea of how far it actually is.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, Joe, you got down there as the old banana. The lights get brighter when you get down to that court, don't they?
Oh, they get shiny, Danny, but they weren't too bright for me in the banana suit. We took care of business down there. Our contestant made his free throws. He did what was necessary to get everyone, I think, a free small jamba?
Yeah, the whole arena.
Whole arena got a free small
not
jamba.
Not the 3 level, not 2 level, not the 1 level, that whole arena.
All right.
Jamba.
If you make a half-court shot, would you rather use the hashtag RC wrap-up? I want to hear what you would want. Would you rather want a K, a car, or 20K? Car, 20K.
Give me the cash.
It depends. If I'm spinning the wheel and I'm getting the fully loaded Subaru WRX, you know.
Oh, Dick and a Subaru.
Yeah,
That
if you're getting
that $50,000 car, you know, like, okay.
I didn't realize we were talking Subarus.
How about this? A Toyota
With
Corolla.
Subarus, it's an easy choice.
Is it right? See?
Toyota Corolla.
I've never heard of that car.
No, I haven't
Subaru, absolutely.
All I heard him say was,
Yeah, for sure.
But Subaru, I heard that.
Yeah.
Actually, I think I stopped making WRX. But anyways, down that line of thing. There you go. See,
Crosstrek,
look,
beautiful vehicle.
Fully loaded 4x4?
So safe.
Absolutely love it.
Folks, heated seats,
MVP of the season.
that's up to you.
Charlotte is on the rise. Charlotte is on the rise. The Hornets, yes, that is the next game for the Portland Trail Blazers on this awesome, awesome road stretch. I actually want to go ahead and let's just look at the upcoming schedule. Why don't we do that? There we go. Let's go ahead and talk about that. 4 p.m. tip. Oh, we love early tips.
Oh, yeah, 4-3. This
Look
is
at
good.
that back-to-back early tips. It's a sweet.
I tell you what,
sweet
your
schedule.
Zers are not doing great at capturing the flag right now.
No.
Because the Blazers, the Blazers have a better record than the Philadelphia 76ers right now.
Yep.
That's a problem.
I had some folks
Capture the flag.
Here we go.
reach out and say they're winning too many games. They have not won too many games until the season is over, and they have won more than 22 games.
We're still 7.
That's the number that I'm hanging on to.
What if the season's
22.
not over and they've won 22 games?
It becomes a bit of a problem.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
Do you
it
think
does.
they get there?
No, I'm even as close as they are now. I'm still taking.
So,
the under.
Danny, if you could put that back up, it actually hasn't updated with tonight's, but it does show kind of where. So, Portland is actually in the 8 spot right now. So, they're at 6%. And it's like, all right, well, you're missing 2% here, 1% here. It's not a big deal. But when it actually, look at that, beautiful. When it actually, like, gets to the point of you're now less than half of 14%, then it's like, oh, we really do need to start figuring it out a little bit.
Can we go to the top of the lotto there, Danny?
The top of the lotto. There he is. Capture the flag.
There we go. Because those are the percentages that matter. 14, 14, 13.3,
Yeah.
13.2, 10.5. The reason why
Yeah.
I keep hitting on like they need to be 5, it's that 10.5.
Yeah.
Like you're still in the same region.
You're in the ballpark.
You're not cutting
important.
you're not cutting your chances in half, going from 14 to 6. And yes, I'm aware that's not half, but it's more than half. It's not good, Bob. That's where I think you need to kind of park that. But there's some opportunity for some losses. Milwaukee, they're going to play this Orlando team again, and I would be shocked if this Orlando team didn't pummel them into a just.
Suggs didn't play tonight, did he?
No.
Yeah.
I would be surprised if they didn't pummel them into a fine paste. Look, Orlando's a really good team.
Let's go to the Blazer
yeah.
box to see what he's
That's
talking about
just-
a little bit.
They are.
Like this was.
That's why I'm stunned by this. I'm
it was
really stunned by this
It was
outcome.
the worst Paulo Banchero game of his career so far.
Ah.
So they
It
finished.
was horrendous.
Yeah, okay, so there you go.
Every one of those games is losable, save really Charlotte. because-
Sacramento's the hottest team in the league right now.
Yeah, that doesn't mean like Milwaukee is giving the Heat the business right now. The Heat are a sad sack franchise tonight.
Dame returns next Tuesday, folks.
Is that game? Oh, it did go final. They beat them by 30. Yeah, Dame cooked them. I think Giannis cooked them. What was the final line there? Yeah, Dame with 29, Giannis with 25. Yeah, Dame was 1 rebound off triple-double, 29, 11, and 9. Giannis finished with 25, 12, and 4. So,
Okay, so I want to
Not bad.
say,
I'm starting to worry.
I think they win on Tuesday.
I'm raising an eyebrow.
Against Milwaukee?
They did last year when Dame's
I'd-
returned.
I would be stunned.
They got their one against Milwaukee.
I would be
Milwaukee's
stunned if
rolling.
they beat
They're
Milwaukee.
rolling.
Weren't you stunned last year?
Yes and no. Dame didn't play too well last game. I think he finished with, 15 points?
Tomorrow's a coin flip. The Blazers could and should win that game. Charlotte's bad.
Yes, they are.
Oklahoma City,
LaMelo Ball revenge game.
best of
because
luck,
he
everybody.
missed out
Enjoy
on the
watching
starter.
the MVP and the best team in the league at a reasonable time on Sunday. And then Dame on Tuesday. I really think the Blazers come back down to earth on Sunday and Tuesday. Maybe I'm wrong. Been wrong a
They
lot.
should realistically, after Charlotte said coin toss. After that, they should realistically lose every game till the trade deadline.
Think so?
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, the baseball series against the Suns always gets a little weird because baseball series. But
yeah, you'll probably
that,
one of those will be 50-50 at a minimum.
And then the
That's
other
just
one
how
will be
those
a
work.
schlacking.
Probably get a dub. Yeah.
So.
All right. So.
There you go.
Good luck, everyone, if you took the under, because we're getting close.
Hey, listen.
And to be clear, I
wins.
did 22.5. I took the under. That was when.
So 7 more and you lose.
Like then that's why I said, once it clears 22, that's
when we start to worry.
That's when we start to worry.
Okay.
So just doing the math. And
I
how
want
they
Philly
think
to be better
down.
than us. I'll say that. A former MVP should be able to be better than the Blazers.
Well, I'm saying if y'all want to see Danny sweat, let this team get to 22 wins. That's gonna do it for us. Episode 44 of the Rip City Wrap Up, sponsored by the good people at Dick Hanna Subaru. Not whatever I was saying earlier.
MVP of the season.
There we go. Danny Marang, Joe Simons, Tyree Smith. We'll see you guys next time on another episode.
We love you all so much.